Slanos, Brittanabetes, and welcome to Hooked on Brittonics. I'm your host, Tom Godothan. Now, with my new name that I gained as a part of my ancestral journey, which is a part of this show, Hooked on Brittonics, this is episode 7, and today we're going to cover part of my ancestral journey, what it means for me, what it means for the Brittonic people, the Brittonic lands, language, culture, heritage, legacy, and what it could mean for you. So first we're going to start with tribe of the week. So the tribe of the week today is the Atrebates. The Atrebates were a pretty powerful tribe. They're in south central England, what is now England. They were pro-Roman. They actually were the ones who got the Romans to invade. And not sort of, as we say in America, Benedict Arnolds, if you will. But they're very pro-Roman. They're very wealthy. They were one of the first ones that had their own coins. And they showed a lot of influence from Rome and from Gaul. They were a Belgic tribe, which many of the tribes in southern and southeastern, what is now England, were Belgic. The Atrebates, they did not survive the post-Roman. They did not. They appear as a tribe before to begin with, but they do not appear later on as a tribal kingdom, like some of their neighbors. So today's episode 7, we are going to cover my ancestry, my DNA ancestry. So I got my DNA connected. I got tested through Ancestry.com first, then sent it to Living DNA. They were able to break it down further. Then, thanks to Red Dragon America, who are testing a experimental new product service, where you send them your results. You don't even need to send them their DNA, just the result percentages, and they can calculate how much. It's approximations, mind you. But how much Brittonic blood you have, Brittonic Celtic blood versus Anglo-Saxon. They break it down into ethnic groups like that, Anglo-Saxon, Brittonic Celtic, Gaelic Celtic. And then they break it down even further into tribes. And so, what tribe do I have in me the most? Well, it's funny because my name, I go by Tom Godothan. The Godothan Votadini DNA connected to that was actually my second strongest Brittonic tribal element. I never even knew that I had anything. I was just drawn to, as a part of Welsh heritage and the Welsh legacy across Britain, I was drawn to the Godothan as a tribe. Their older name is the Votadini. But I had a wide array across of my DNA coming from the Scottish lowlands, and also specifically a region that was once a part of Northumbria, but actually more corresponds to the Godothan tribal territory. That was one little specific within the specifics. But even bigger than that was the Cantiaci tribe, who gave their name to the modern county in England known as Kent. And it is them I want to cover today and what that means. So the Cantiaci were a pretty powerful tribe. They are, like I said, in what is now Kent and part of Surrey, modern county of Surrey. They existed before the Romans, during the Roman times, after the Romans, and they even exist today. You're looking at one of them. That was the strongest Brittonic tribal element within my DNA as a whole, was specifically connected to the Cantiaci. This makes sense. My last name is Steers, and my family came to the United States from Kent, my Steers family. Way going back, that name has been found there in Kent, and my family has been there in Kent and in Surrey for, it seems, a long, long time. We can go back as early as the 600s. To a local lord there, and it was like I said, pretty exciting stuff. Now, one thing. Hold on a sec, guys. Now, one thing. A lot of interesting stuff came up. Now, I also have ancestry from Wales, of course. But my strongest Brittonic DNA isn't even from Wales. It's from not first Kent and the Cantiaci, then the Godothan of like southeastern Scotland, northeastern England, then Wales. And this to me is that Welsh part of me that always called to me the most. I never identified with the Anglo-Saxons and the English thing. I never really identified with that. Of all my heritage, which my heritage is pretty much all from the British Isles in some way or another, but it was the Welsh and the Brittonic Celts that always appealed to me the most. That's what I identify with. And I think the modern Wales being the sort of last true stronghold of that culture and legacy is why Wales, of the nations of the British Isles, Wales always appealed to me the most. It is that last stronghold of the true Britons. Wales is the last stronghold of what it truly means to be British, the original British. And so the Cantiaci as a tribe, they looking into them, they're very anti-Roman. It's kind of funny because the tribe of the week ended up being the Atrebates. The Atrebates were actually a rival to the Cantiaci. They were a neighboring tribe. The Cantiaci were pretty much anti-Roman the whole way around. When Julius Caesar invaded in 54 BC, it was the Cantiaci were allied with Cassivellaunus, who's king of the Catuvellauni tribe. That he was basically the high king of Britain at that time, the high king of all the tribes. The Cantiaci were loyal to him. They fought the Romans. As soon as the Romans, Julius Caesar and his troops landed there in Kent, and got hell from the Cantiaci the minute they stepped foot in Britain, and got hell the way up to the River Thames where they fought Cassivellaunus, and were guerrilla fighting him the whole time. Same thing happened again 100 years later when the Romans under Claudius invaded. The Cantiaci were anti-Roman again. They helped Karatakos, but they were actually defeated this time relatively quickly. Now, you fast forward to the post-Roman period when the Romans leave and all these new tribal kingdoms appear, many of which match previous just tribal areas. So, what was once the Votadini tribal area is now the kingdom of Godothan, whereas once the Regenses or Regini tribal area is now the kingdom of Regen. And what was once right next to Regen, what was once the Cantiaci tribal area is now the kingdom of Kent. Kent, so the legends and so the history goes, was the first one taken by the Anglo-Saxons, specifically a part of the Anglo-Saxons that was a Germanic tribe from Denmark called the Utes, the Jutes. It looks like Jutes, but it's spelled Utes. Now, the Utes took us over. However, a strange thing happened is when the Anglo-Saxons when they start taking over Britain, old tribal kingdoms disappear and these new names appear. So like Wessex, the West Saxons, Sussex, the South Saxons, Essex, East Saxons, Mercia, Northumbria, East Anglia. These are the new Anglo-Saxon kingdoms that emerge. However, Kent remains and starts to be called Kent. Now, this, to me, struck out to me when I started reading more up on the history. I'm like, well, why did it keep its name? And even the people still call themselves Kanta or Cantia or Kantwara. So this to me, I mean, for one, the fact that my DNA still has a significant portion of me, this is 1,500 years later after the conquest, 1,500 years later, an American from, who has descent from England, whose family has been in America, all this mixing, and there's still this strong, significant element, higher than like my North Germanic or, possibly Jute DNA, my Scandinavian DNA. This is higher than that. Something about that just didn't sit well to me. It didn't. Well, it actually did sit well because it helped explain like why the Brittonic culture and history and legacy calls to me so much, because it's the strongest element of me DNA. And also it shows that the Britons were not wiped out in mass. They were more assimilated into new Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. That is what I believe happened with Kent, because there's a lot of things. Okay, so there was a law in Kent called gavelkind, and where when a man died, his inheritance was split evenly amongst his sons, as opposed to primogeniture, which the Anglo-Normans had. So when the Normans invaded, for example, in 1066, after defeating the Anglo-Saxon king at the Battle of Hastings, they then went to Kent. Kent, basically, we told them, fuck you. The only way we'll be vassals to you is if we are still allowed to practice our ancient laws, like gavelkind. And now the Normans accepted this, and gavelkind was still practiced until 1925, actually. And the interesting thing about gavelkind, this practice of splitting the inheritance amongst the sons and whatnot, the sort of not collectivist, but almost communitarian sort of approach to society, is that the only Wales also practice this, and there's evidence to that Cornwall as well. So aside from Kent, Wales and Cornwall were the only two places that practiced this. So that was pretty interesting. Another thing is a lot of folklore from Kent shares striking similarities to folklore. For example, the hoodening and odening with the horse, the practice of the horse going door to door. That was a folkloric belief existing in Kent, which directly mirrors the Mari Lwyd in Wales, and also similar things in very northern England, the Scottish Highlands, as well as Cornwall and Devon. All these areas that we associate with all these more sort of Celtic areas of Britain, if you will. And so that to me is proof of another. That and a lot of the local Kentish beliefs in the wild hunt and whatnot, which reminded me of Gwyn ap Nuth from Welsh mythology. I think that Kent is much more. I mean, just the name alone says it. Kent is still the land of the Cantiaci. It's our land, our name, our people. And I connect with it even more because, so my family came here from Kent, and they were very early settlers of Kentucky, and which my family lived in. My dad is the first one in my family known to have moved out of Kentucky. We lived in Kentucky for quite a while, and the name Kentucky got my attention, so I started looking into it. They don't actually know how it got its name. They believe that it could come from an Iroquois word. Some believe it comes from a Cherokee word and whatnot. But there is sort of colloquial usage of someone being a Kentuck that I've heard, that I know of, that it has been recorded, and I've even seen it used for someone from Kent. Now, a lot of these early settlers there were English, a lot from southeastern England, southern England, and Kent. So is it possible that perhaps Kentucky is not named from an Iroquois word or a Cherokee word, but actually is a surviving etymological testament to the ancient Cantiaci? Is Kentucky a American linguistic testament to the Cantiaci? I don't know. I like to believe it is. That's my belief. I believe that name is embedded in our subconscious as our ancient tribal title. Kent is signified, its flag is a white horse on a red background, and I connect with this quite a bit. And yeah, that's my journey. It really diving into this stuff. It really it helps explain things that you never knew. Oh, why did this call to me, and why did that call to me? I've had many dreams throughout my life with white horses in them. That often, to me, they're dreams that have like they'll sometimes have to do with me and me dad, or they'll have to do with things of a sort of subconscious family aspect, if you will. And that to me is the white horse of Kent, the white horse of Rhiannon, Epona, Rigantona, She is the lady of the land. She is the mare on the hill. And of course, Kent is well known for it. It has the beautiful Celtic white horse drawn in chalk on the side of a hillside from thousands of years ago. Who could forget that? Diving into this stuff really helped connect me not just more to the Brittonic peoples as a whole, but also to a specific tribe, my tribe, the Cantiaci. And I want to end today on this element of both the horse and the other world, which the horse in this sense is both the symbol of the other world and of our world and of the land. The god of the week is Andescociuoucus. Andescociuoucus his name means sort of the great activator or great energizer. He was worship to him was found in relation to other gods of the underworld. And I see him, Andescociuoucus, I see him as a god of the other world who lives within the land, who sort of represents things like thermal springs and other energy and nutrients that comes from the land and helps activate us. So him in conjunction with Rhiannon represent both the sovereignty and the energy and the power that exists within the land. So wherever it is that you call home, whatever land you call yours, go take your shoes off, take your socks off, go stand in the land and connect with Andescociuoucus and connect with Rhiannon, the white horse. Connect with the sovereignty of the land you live on. Connect with the energy of the land you live on. That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed my story. Long live the Cantiaci, 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 Cantiaci. And you can check out my Twitter at Tom Godothan, because I'm going to be releasing, I've been reconstructing a sort of more Kentish form of Brittonic, if you will. So if you guys want to check that out, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow. Don't forget to like and send friend requests and messages and birthday cakes and statues of me on a white horse and any other things you guys can think that would be a way to show your support for me. We'll call me the Cantiaci kid. The Cantiaci kid. That's it, guys. Slanosiesh, Molar swoosh.